Rockstar continues to disappoint with their groveling submission to demands for unwarranted black geld. They had 2 hour shutdown of the servers yesterday afternoon. Luckily, I didn't even hear about it till after the fact because I was at work. It was in the middle of the workday, so at least there was that. But I really don't get it. I'm going to include a link in the bottom. I do get it, but I also don't. I'm going to include a link in the description. I don't think that most people know this kind of stuff. I don't think that most people are capable of understanding or accepting this kind of stuff. I think exactly the people who need to know this are the ones who are least likely to accept it, and I don't think it will really change anybody's mind. But nonetheless, the truth is what it is, whether we like it or not. Pretty Little Lies and delusions serve nobody. I'm going to paraphrase a portion of this link from below, and it kind of sums up my thoughts on it. Having observed African behavior on North American soil for 4 centuries now, European Americans, if you will, all know that deep down that these people are profoundly different from them. Some of these differences include a lack of abstract thinking, of planning ahead, of delayed gratification, and containment of their aggression. Black people themselves joke about these traits endlessly. It's not a mystery. Nobody is really ignorant of the fact that this is true. This is why black crime rates have always been higher than any other group wherever and whenever they have lived among other groups for all of recorded history. No amount of affirmative action, busing, welfare, Hollywood pandering, bowing and scraping from NFL quarterbacks, politicians, and people in Hollywood, or self-flagellation of white people for non-existent racism seem to have any impact on improving the behavior of black people in America at all. Everyone in the U.S. knows that African Americans' problems with the police are at least 95% of their own making. And I think white Americans are sensing more and more, even if it's only subconsciously in some cases, that their black brethren are simply incapable of living like white people, and that in fact it's foolish to ask and demand them to do so. They are born with a behavioral pattern that means that they will never be successful in the type of society that white people build and that white people think and believe are necessary for advanced civilization. It's fruitless and pointless, and there's nothing we can do to fix it. And it's not necessarily true to say that it's broken. Why not let black people have their own nations, set up societies as they choose, that cater to their behavior patterns, and that work for them? Black societies in sub-Saharan Africa seem to be as stable as societies anywhere. Yeah, granted, they're not quote-unquote high civilization type cultures, but so what? Do they need to be? Is that really better? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, enough about that. I'm disappointed in Rockstar, but not surprised, because it's happening everywhere right now. Everybody that seems to have a voice on social media or elsewhere is chasing a delusional, wishful thinking lie, and are getting more and more frustrated that somehow this delusional, wishful thinking lie never seems to come to reality, and it never will. Of course not. It cannot, and it will not. We really need to come up with a new plan for how to deal with minorities in America. And honestly, I think the only one that really has any chance of success is that everybody has their own nations that they set up and run the way that suits them. America was not built on inclusivity or immigration or pretending that fake Americans are Americans, because they're not. America was built by a very specific group of people who were concerned that even people from neighboring and very similar groups of people just would never get it and would ruin the American cause because they wouldn't value or be able to maintain it. The idea that now people that are very far removed from the founding population actually understands, appreciates, and can maintain it is absurd, and it's demonstrably untrue, as we see in front of us all the time. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about that. It's hard to avoid it. Everybody in the world is talking about it. It consumes all of our attention right now. But again, I will put the link that I discussed for those who are capable of digesting this type of information. You'll find that it's good material, it's scientifically valid, it's statistically proven, it's empirically true and undeniable. It just is. And whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. It is, it will be, it will always be. Anyway, other than that, Red Dead Redemption. I missed the blackout period, luckily, because it would have really pissed me off. But I've been playing. I kind of mentioned this earlier. I used to do the trader, and then I stopped doing the trader, both because of animal spawn issues and because of camp despawn issues. Those have not been a problem. I got tired of the collector. It got tedious, and I've kind of come back to the collector, to the trader. When I did the trader before, I just kind of shot whatever was near my camp, and I used to set up in the Heartlands, and there was lots of animals out there when spawns were working. So I would shoot deer, antelope, buffalo sometime, rabbits, birds, and I would just bring in whatever I saw. I would shoot it, and I'd bring it to camp. I now do things in a much more focused way. I've set up my camp in tall trees to be next to my moonshine shack. And because it's all very close, I go from there to the Cougar Bowl. If you look at the word tall trees on the map, the T at the beginning of it is, and you can look at the topographical lines on the map, you can see that it's kind of a little bowl surrounded on all sides by high rocks, mountain walls, and there's an entrance on the direct south. You can just kind of go in there. There's no road or path. Although it's near, there's a road near the entrance that runs, by that in tall trees, but there is no road or path into the bowl. But if you run up into the bowl, go around on the right side of the bowl, climb the rocks that are kind of to the right center and stand on that flat rock, turn and look directly to the middle of the bowl. There's usually a cougar there. It's usually 3-star, not always, but usually. If it's not there, you can run outside of the bowl, pick some plants, do something with your horse, run back inside, do the exact same thing again, and it will usually have forced a spawn. You then pull out your bolt-action rifle with express ammo, take a shot, use the scope, take a shot right to the head. You've got a perfect kill. And you can do this, I don't know how often, every few minutes at least, or you can refresh your session and do it again. Because the cougars, especially 3-star cougars, give so much more material to crypts than a whole pile of 1-star deer or pelts or ravens or whatever, I'm finding that it's actually very, very easy, much easier than when I was doing it much more haphazardly. It's easy to keep the materials section pretty full, and in fact I can hunt cougars faster than he can turn them into goods to sell, and it takes me much less time than it used to. So I'm doing a much more focused way of managing the trader. And usually, although I only play for an hour or two, usually about every other day, I find that Crips has a delivery ready to go, and then I'll go drop it off, make $600. I wasn't doing a collector coin run more than twice a week or so, so I'm actually making more money doing the trader, plus it's less time consuming. Because I find that doing the collector roll, I know people online sometimes talk about it, being done very quickly. It was never very quick for me. It took at least an hour and a half to get all the coins, running around from place to place to pick up every single coin and then going to Madame Nazar and selling them. So I actually find the Trader is um, at least not more time consuming, at least, but it's also more relaxing, and I can kind of spread it out. I don't feel like I have this pressure that I have to like run around and do all this stuff right away. I can go shoot a cougar, drop it off, go do something else, go shoot another cougar, drop it off, go do something else. It doesn't take very long under this system for me to have a full wagon ready to go. And it's a little bit more passive, kind of the way that the Moonshiner roll is, so I'm enjoying it a lot. This, of course, gives me more time and more money to buy clothes and to build outfits and to make outfit videos. Today's outfit video is based on the Kennedy hat. And now I have lots of different ways of doing this, and sometimes when I make outfit videos I have a theme. Like the one I did earlier yesterday was based on the Expedition hat, and the theme was, you know, basically kind of the old-fashioned Boy Scout and or explorer concept. So it actually had two themes. It had a single item of clothing that was repeated in different color across all three weather conditions, and it also had, you know, an actual theme. This one doesn't have an actual theme. It's just based on the Kennedy hat. The way I do this too is that I have 3 outfits in a set. I'm running around using those 3, but I've got 3 others in 2 other sets kind of ready to go. And then when I, you know, make my video, my walk around in the outfit and the stand in a wardrobe and show off all the pieces, then I delete those 3 outfits, move to the next one that's on deck, and then you know, shortly after kind of build up the next one that will be 2 videos out. So I can tell you right now, for instance, that my next set will be based, it's a color themed one, it's going to be red and white, and then the next, or I'm sorry, no, that's 2 out. The next one actually doesn't have a theme. It's just 3 outfits that really don't have anything in common with each other, other than I kind of made them and didn't want to not make them, so I have them ready to go. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and I've got that one ready to go, and then I've got red and white ready to go. And I already know what I'm going to work on after that. It's going to be kind of a fancy, dressy type of concept, a dapper concept. So anyway, I probably have talked too much, and I've probably talked about things that you don't want me to say or you don't care to hear. So it's probably a mistake for me to say them in the first place. So I'll go ahead and quit, and we'll do these videos, and I'll upload this, and it will have outfits in it, and that will be that. See you next time.